Welcome to my channel, and today I will be reviewing the collection of Kenzo called Memory. And this collection is dedicated to memories about Japan. And just that idea creates very high expectations in my mind. I'm thinking about that fresh air at sunrise. I'm thinking about water lily ponds. I'm also dreaming about delicate Japanese flowers, cherry blossom, the smell of Japanese tea, steamy rice, and ginseng. This collection has it all and so much more. Kenzo has very romantic descriptions of each fragrance on their website. And I really like the design of the bottles, really minimalistic. But not all the fragrances are as minimalistic as I could have imagined. I'm gonna start with a perfume that I associate with the smell of Japan the most. And it is called Rêve Lotus. Dreamy lotus. Of course, lotus is very close to dreams about Japan, but I'm not sure this smells like the lotus I have in my mind. To me, this smells like Japanese spa. There's something generic floral, but there's a smell of humidity. It smells like wet rocks in a spa. And there is a light powdery element. It's actually like powdery and aquatic at the same time. And of course we see lotus in the pyramid, but I was a bit surprised to see mimosa in here. It actually is not so sweet as you might imagine when you see mimosa in the pyramid. And then yes, the structure that actually defines this fragrance is a mix of musk and ambroxan. I would not say that this ambroxan is very strong and annoying as it could be in some modern fragrances, but it might be a turn-off for a lot of people. For me, this perfume is likable, but I would not wish to smell like that. I would like this to be a smell of my apartment, for example. And it is really comforting when you go to a Japanese spa. And since there is a Japanese theme around this set, the first one that attracted my attention is called Coeur Azuki. And I was hoping for some sakura and cherry blossom in here, because this one has a very delicate pink color. The opening is very sweet, mostly floral. For some reason, Fragrantica describes it as sweet notes and has a picture of candies. It does make me think of candies somehow, but the creator thinks of Japanese mochi, which is a Japanese dessert. On top you have a rice cake and in the middle you have ice cream. You probably have tried that ice cream that is made with red beans. I know that red bean ice cream doesn't sound very attractive, but it actually is very delicious. So that Japanese red bean is called azuki, and this is the note you get in here. But the creator did not think of a red bean mochi. The creator actually thought of black currant mochi, and I absolutely don't get black currant in here. The main note that I get in here is actually something like neroli or orange blossom. It is very sweet, and this is a kind of sweetness that continues till the very base of the pyramid, which is predominantly musky, but it has a vanilla touch. So the fragrance is almost linear. There is a small difference between the opening and the middle, but there is no transition towards the base. It's just when you reach that moment when orange blossom and jasmine come into full bloom, that's where it's supposed to be black currant, which I never got. That's when the fragrance just starts fading away very slowly. The powdery element of this fragrance is not very strong. This is orange blossom with a little powdery veil. And it's interesting because orange blossom is actually hiding in a lot of fragrances of this collection of Kenzo. And the one that is a very good example of this as well is a fragrance that is called Nuit Tatami, Tatami Night. Tatami is a little mat that is made of rice straws, and it's present in almost all Japanese homes. And this is a kind of memory that is supposed to be brought up by this fragrance. When I smelled it without reading the description, I thought that there are many different kinds of orange. Blood orange, sugared orange peels, orange blossom and neroli, and even some kind of orange liquor. And I was surprised not to find any orange in the pyramid. If I had to fantasize further, I would even say that I get some licorice and lavender in here. And these impressions bring me to a fragrance by Cèdre that is called Lira. I cannot say that they are very similar, but they do have a similar style. And somehow that sweetness and spiciness remind me of Christmas. But in the collection of Kenzo, this is the only fragrance that is more of a night type of fragrance. And this is due to the light touch of amber, because the entire collection is predominantly musky. And once again, there is a powdery element in here, but again, the powdery element is not very strong. So if you are looking for a really powdery fragrance, I would say that the one that has the most powdery aura is called Soleil Thé, Sunshine Tea. But again, what I get in here is not matching the pyramid on Fragrantica or the description of Kenzo by the creators. To me, this is a mix of Johnson & Johnson baby oil, Nivea cream, and baby powder. So this is super powdery, but it smells more like a cosmetic powder rather than iris floral powder. And as a lover of iris, I definitely would be disappointed if I was searching for iris in here. Because this perfume is so powdery, this is probably where it is easier to fantasize about rice powder. Plus, it's probably not as sweet as the two fragrances that I spoke about before, where orange blossom is more or less dominating over the powdery element. The fragrance that I was really curious about is called Poudre Matcha, matcha powder. When I tried this one, it made me think of Replica, but not because they're similar, but just because this matcha and mate tea element evaporates so quickly that you just try to catch it and it's already gone. What happens when these green teas evaporate? What you get in here is rose, jasmine, and orange blossom. Very light floral over a musky base, maybe sweetened a little bit, but unfortunately you will not be wearing this matcha and green tea throughout. So this one probably is a bit disappointing because there's a mismatch between the name and the fragrance. Magnolia is definitely a flower I would associate with Japanese theme. And the biggest fragrance in the set is called Ciel Magnolia, Magnolia Sky. It's interesting that I was getting the note of magnolia in two other fragrances where this note is not even listed. And these two are Poudre Matcha. The beginning, there is a bit of a magnolia somewhere in the air, that delicate magnolia that I like. And the other one is Soleil Thé. Before it gets strong powdery, you get that floral something that reminded me of magnolia as well. But when it came to Ciel Magnolia, that is the biggest one in the set, I was like, where is magnolia in here? This one is Fleur Narcotique by Ex Nihilo. And coincidentally, or not coincidentally, this fragrance is made by the same creator, Quentin Biche. I think it's wonderful for those who could not afford the prices of Ex Nihilo. This is really a good alternative, a dupe, or I would even say a twin for Ex Nihilo Fleur Narcotique. Ciel Magnolia has the same radiating power, and I really recommend wearing it out so you can have that sillage that is so tremendous, that spreads so far behind you, and it will make men follow you. The only thing about this fragrance versus Fleur Narcotique that I don't really like the dry down of it. It is musky, but it has a bit of a bitterness. Most people will probably not even notice, and that's where you sense the quality. But as I said, most noses, they will not even detect it. It really is in my dupe recommendations. And the last perfume that I have in the set is called Cèdre Secret, a secret cedar. This is supposed to awaken the memories of cedar wood in a fireplace. I certainly don't get anything fire-like, anything smoky or incensey. On the contrary, this cedar wood is very soft, and this is probably the only fragrance that gives me any idea of any kind of wood, despite that some woody notes are present in other perfumes as well. So cedar wood is here, but it's more like a powder of cedar wood, I don't know. And it is very well blended with tonka. You probably have heard that sometimes tonka can smell like human sweat. And this could be the case with this fragrance. It's kind of tricky. I tried it 2 times. When it was very hot, it was orange blossom that was the dominant note. It started coming out very slowly, and I liked it at the beginning when it was mixed with cedarwood and tonka. But when orange blossom took over, I liked it a bit less. And when I tried it at room temperature, I was thinking that I missed cumin. And cumin, more than tonka, is a note that is associated with sweat. And I was actually surprised that I liked it, because I'm not a fan of perfumes that smell like human pheromones and sweat. I'm also not a fan of orange blossom fragrances, but here somehow they are mixed very nicely together, and the blend is very delicate and just sits right on my skin. You should not be scared when I say it smells a bit like sweat. You should really try it out. Well, Secret Cedar was the last one, and as a conclusion, I would like to say this set will be very much appreciated by those who like powdery fragrances. But unfortunately, these powdery elements are very generic. In the description, you see them as a matcha tea, as a solar notes, as a rice powder, as iris, but most of them, they smell like synthetic baby powder. And another thing is that there's a lot of orange blossom hiding in many fragrances and not even mentioned in the pyramid.